and Beyond. I'm your host, Alan Tracy,
And I'm Rahana Power.
and today we have filmmaker Jordan Lynn with us today. Hello, Jordan.
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We are very excited to chat with you. I've been excited to have you on the podcast since Z Fest. So this is I've been looking forward to this. Before we dive in though, can you just tell us something fun and interesting about yourself?
Oh, fun fact. Oh, I guess fun fact about me is I sort of walked onto the Gopher basketball team when I was in college. So they had a walk-on tryouts my senior year, and I went to it and got invited back to practice with the team. I had some family stuff that was going on, so I couldn't stay with them. Don't know how much I would have played if I stayed, but if I was told that would have been on the team if I had stayed and had family stuff. So I sort of walked on that last year there. So
Wow.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't know about sort of. I mean, you did. Like
yeah.
just because you couldn't stay the whole time does not mean that you didn't actually do it. That's awesome.
What
Mhm.
That's
years
very,
were
very cool.
those? I'm curious.
My senior year was 2014, so 2013, 2014 was my
Okay,
senior
okay.
year. Yeah. So what, 12 years ago now, which is kind of, or 11 years ago now, which is kind of crazy. So
Oh yeah. My gosh. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. It's flying by sometimes, it
yeah.
seems. Yeah.
No kidding. Is I'm curious, so because one of the films that we'll end up kind of touching on later of yours is I know centered around basketball and I know that you also do a lot of filming, directing, everything when it comes to like sports teams here in the cities and the Gophers and everything. So is sports like another our sports is sports. Sorry, that suddenly sounded weird. Is that like another passion of yours, like other than filmmaking as well? Or is it basketball specifically that you love? Or is it just kind of like you just thought you'd give it a shot and you just happen to be really good at it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've always been a huge sports fan. Basketball's been my main one. But I
Yeah.
played a variety of sports growing up and have been a huge sports fan since I was a kid. And then I actually went to college for sport management, so that was my major in college. So yeah, kind of a weird path to now making films and doing that. But yeah, that's kind of how what I you know got my education in.
That's so cool. I
Mm.
love that. I was this close to doing that, but they created the school I went to created the program for that the year that I was graduating, and they were like,
Mm.
you would have to stay on for like another year and a half. And I was like,
Yeah, don't want to do
nope,
that.
I'm out. So I love that you did that. That's
Mhm.
really, really cool. Uh, okay. So
Okay.
kind of moving into yes, sports, but you also clearly love film. Can you tell us how you got started in film?
Yeah, I know it's kind of a weird journey. I think looking back on, growing up, it kind of makes sense a little bit. I have always been like a creative person growing up. Not necessarily like filmmaking, but just whether it's drawing, making stuff,
Mhm.
rearranging my bedroom a million times as a kid and
Yep.
all that stuff, and always like, you know, wanting to create stuff. I would take my mom's camcorder growing up when she would be filming, my sister's softball game or my brother's, event. I would like, want to take the camera and film stuff myself. I didn't really like ever make anything, but I always liked, taking it and just playing around with it.
Hmm.
Makes sense now.
Hmm.
Yep.
Hindsight, but so that's kind of I've always had that creative itch of making stuff and being around being creative. um didn't really ever consider it like, oh, I'm gonna do this for a living. I was played sports growing up and was I would say I was pretty good, so I think I held on to the professional sports dream probably a little bit longer than most people because I um and then the classic, sports person. When I was thinking about college, I was like, oh, if I can't play sports, I want to work in sports. And
Hmm.
so I went to the University of Minnesota for sport management and just kind of started. along that path. Again, didn't really
Hmm.
wasn't film wasn't really a thing on my mind.
Hmm.
And then I added on the communications minor while I was in college, and then I saw that there was, I think it was like a media production class that could count towards one of my communications credits. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that sounds interesting. That sounds like a fun way to get a credit.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey everyone, we've got 20 plus episodes up for you now on our Patreon with lots of fun chats, some really great guests.
Yeah. And join for free and get extra episodes for as little as $5 a month. You can join in the link in the show notes. Check us out at patreon.com/film and beyond.
and so I took that class, and I think that kind of sparked something. And I was like, oh, this is really fun. I like doing this, and started, you know, seeing what else I could do. The University of Minnesota didn't have a ton of video production film classes when I was there. I don't know
Hmm.
if it's changed now, but I took probably as many as I could, which is probably like three or four classes, I think.
Um,
But that's kind of my professor Mark Newman Scott. He was a big help and kind of just like learning the fundamentals of filmmaking and editing and all that stuff. And that's kind of how I got, put into like the video production side of things. And then once I kind of got that spark and knew like, oh, this is maybe I can do something with this, then
mhm.
it was just trying to learn as much as I can. And then I was trying to figure out, okay, how can I combine sports and video and where does that lead?
Yeah.
And then that led me to an internship with I got an internship with the St. Paul Saints after my junior year, going into my senior year. Again, it wasn't
Hmm.
film or video related. I
Yeah.
told them I, knew my way around Photoshop, so I could do some stuff like that.
Yep.
My internship mainly was, just general intern duties, and I designed a flyer um, as part of one of my um, projects, and then I also was able to start their Instagram account when I was there.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, it's back, I had complete control. So I was like, "Yep, Jordan, you make the Instagram account." So I got to like, just film random stuff there and figure that out and do some social media stuff. And then I had another internship go in the fall of my senior year, kind of as a marketing intern, where I got to do a little bit more kind of creative stuff like that. And then as I was getting ready to graduate, um, I was thinking about applying for there's like a film editing internship in Los
Mhm.
Angeles that my professor told me about. And I was thinking about doing that, and I went and told my boss at the Saints that I was going to apply and ask him for a letter of recommendation, and he was like,
Yeah.
I can do that, but before I write this letter, we want to offer you a job." Um, and so I didn't end up applying for the editing internship, and I took the job. And
Yep.
when I started, my title was marketing associate, but it was basically I was like the first in-house video and social person for the Saints, and I was also
Wow.
in charge of email and all that stuff. But so yeah, that's
That's
kind of
so
how,
cool.
yeah, so that's kind of how I got started as like, everything video production, social media for the Saints,
Hmm.
I was in charge of making. And then yeah, so then it was just kind of a learn as you go type of
Hmm.
thing, which was I think like a blessing and a curse. I always like when
Yeah.
I think back, it's like I had the freedom to make whatever I wanted, and
Oh no.
because
Yeah.
and
I'm just kidding.
no,
Yeah.
it was fun, but and because they hadn't had it before, like anything I did was good. So
Right.
it was kind of like, there's no
Oh,
pressure.
yeah.
There's no pressure like, oh, this is what we've done before, and so this is what we're expecting. It's like
Right.
Hmm.
anything we make is fun. So like I kind of got to like trial and error, learn as I go. And so that's kind of how I started, just like making random videos here and there. And then I would always,
Yeah.
watch YouTube tutorials. I still do.
Yes, yes. Same
And
here,
so I
same
just,
Hmm.
yeah, so YouTube University.
Yep.
And so like between the trial and error of learning how all that went and then learning, stuff on the side and just kind of went from there and kind of making stuff and getting better just by doing stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and the Saints, like that organization, I mean, if anyone has likes baseball and has gone to a Saints game, especially a Saints game and a Twins game or
Hmm.
any Major League Baseball game, like they know that the Saints obviously are a very fun organization and the games are fun and there's so much activity and they're really like the point is to have a good time and really enjoy yourself. And so
Hmm.
that had to have been, I'm guessing that that probably also took away some of the pressure in as you're like creating all these things. So you're like, okay, I can actually enjoy myself and be creative and
Yeah.
like the fun things that I might want to do are what they're like, that's their uh vibe
Hmm.
aura. The word is escaping me. But yeah, that
Yeah.
whole thing. So
Yeah. Yeah. No,
that's
yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. The Saints slogan is fun is good. And so like, yeah, there's during a season, there's, back when they were still independent, we
Mhm.
had 50 home games, I think it was. And so like every game there's a different theme. And so like
Yep.
there's content that needs to be made for everyone. So like there's so many
Jeez.
different opportunities to
Yeah.
be creative and funny
Wow.
and just like testing different stuff. We have, it's whether it's Christmas in July or,
Yeah.
you name it. There's just, so there's fun opportunities to make just a wide variety of videos. And I think that's what helped me too. Just like I wasn't just making, sports highlights. I could
Right.
make
Yeah.
and any idea I had, I could make too. So it's like, oh, we're gonna do like a interview with a player and his son, or we're gonna do have the players do a wacky dance and do something here. Like there's just there's so many opportunities to like make stuff and so
Hmm.
then yeah, then that's just what I did. And I did that for a couple years solo. So I was like 2014 was my first season. And then 2015, 2016, it was just me. And then 2017, going into 2017 seasons when I kind of like, hey, I might need some more assistance on this.
Yeah.
Like we're starting to do more stuff. We had moved into the new
Right.
ballpark. So
Yep.
we had a new video board. That was in 2015, but we had new video board. So there's more stuff that we could do. We had ideas for bigger projects. Like we were going to do a Facebook Live pregame show before every game. Um, we wanted to do. I had an idea for a documentary going into that season, which is that poster there.
Yep. Yeah.
Nice. Yep.
So I had that idea, and so like going into that season, I was like, if we want to do these bigger projects, I'm going to need some help. So we hired an
Mhm.
intern, and then we also hired like a seasonal video person as well. And so team grew from just myself to three people. So that was fun. And then just again, not then I had to like trial and error learn how to manage people and
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yep.
and and, and build a team. And so that kind of helped develop different skills, and then. Yeah, and then just kept growing. We kept making more and more stuff,
Huh.
bigger projects, and then yeah, by the time I left in 2021, like was able to like build the department up to it was myself, another full-time person, two video interns during the season. There was a social media full-time person, and then a social media intern. So a team of like
Wow.
six or seven that was kind of my responsibility for leading and working with.
Hmm.
And we built the studio at the ballpark too. So we took over a
Oh,
old
cool.
storage closet and retrofitted it to be our
Yep.
our studio with a set and all that stuff. And yeah, so that's kind of my big sports journey. But yeah, the documentary was the biggest project that I did there, and that was a
Yeah.
huge
Hmm.
undertaking. I
Yeah.
think when I set out, I was hoping it was going to be like, oh, maybe it'll be like maybe a 30-minute documentary. Ended up being 60 minutes, and yeah, just crazy. I think we did like 25 different interviews, and they're all like an hour long, and yeah, and then trying to figure out how that goes, and
Hmm.
we're had to figure out how do you license footage? I don't know. Like I like I had everyone to learn from. I was like,
Yes.
oh, I need to like, how do I get in contact with ESPN because we wanted to license footage there, or like reach out to news
Yep.
stations and figure out how to
Yeah.
license music. I think we licensed a Macklemore song for the
Without the
film.
express written consent of the blank league.
Yeah, so there's like a lot of learning there, which was really
Yeah.
fun, and then I think we showed it at the Twin Cities Film Fest, showed it as part of one of their insider series where they do like kind of one-off screenings, and then it showed at the Baseball Hall of Fame for the Baseball Film Festival. So that was
Oh,
that was really fun. So I got to
Wow.
go out there
that's
and
so
premiere it there.
cool.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I want to go back because
And
I heard from them that every film that's a part of the Baseball Film Festival is becomes part of like their digital archive. So I haven't gone back to
Ooh.
test, but I from what they said, I believe that like if you they have a place there where you can like just request to watch stuff.
where's
And I
that?
think at the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown.
Okay.
So I think it's you can probably watch it there, but I haven't confirmed, but that
That
yeah, that
Yeah,
was
we're I'm
fun.
just trying to
right.
help our listeners find it, and
Yeah.
also for those listening only, it's called For the Fun of the Game is the
Yeah.
name of the movie. So
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
available on Amazon, so you can that's a place to check it out.
there
And
you
I
go.
also got to interview Bill Murray for it, which was fun.
What?
Which makes sense
Yeah,
because of his time, obviously, but it's
yeah,
so cool.
he used to be
How
an
was
owner of the
that?
Saints. It was fun. It's like when I set out to make the documentary, I was like, oh, would love to interview Bill. He's one of the owners, really, famous actor,
Yeah.
big celebrity.
Hmm.
But you can never plan on doing that. Like, we always,
Yeah.
Bill kind of he showed up when he showed up. I think he would always like show up to like maybe one game a season.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so wants to be respectful of his time here. Don't want to like, he's here for
Right.
do stuff. But it was like, oh, if I can, that'd be great, but not gonna bank on it or, plan the entire thing around it. So just
Hmm.
but then just one day, I think him and his brother were here to filmed. I think they were doing like a Facebook Watch series back then. And they were here to film something. And then one of my bosses like, "Hey Jordan, Bill's gonna be here today. You got 15 minutes with him." And so just like a mad dash to, get an interview spot set up. And so I had it all set
Yeah.
up and then was ready to go. And then I didn't know his brother was going to be there. I thought it was just Bill. And then, but him and his brother
Yeah.
both showed up. And we had like set up everything for just interviewing
Oh,
Bill. So
just
like,
one.
yeah, so we had like quickly like, how do we make this a two shot with both of them and get them both
Right.
in it? And like all the questions I prepared were just for Bill. So like on the fly, I had to like think
And
of some
you.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
like,
because I did like and his brother's a celebrity in his own right and actor and voiceover artist
is he?
and yeah,
Which
I don't know
I
I
don't know
think
any
his
of his
brother.
well
brothers.
Brian Doyle Murray. I know I forget what stuff
Oh,
he's in. I mean the one that like that I didn't know, but he's the voice of the Flying Dutchman in SpongeBob. Um,
really?
yep. I know he does some other things. That was like the one that stuck out to me.
Oh, this guy. Okay, so the guy, the boss from Christmas Vacation,
Yep.
Oh,
that
I
guy.
see. Yes, him.
Yes. But
I
yeah,
never knew that. That's
but yeah, so then
fabulous.
like I was like trying like I didn't want to like have both of them on and I'm just asking Bill questions. I was like I got to make sure I'm asking him
Yeah.
questions too. And so like trying to like on the fly,
Oh,
like, hey, what can I ask him? What can I ask? And yeah,
yeah.
but no, it worked out great and like we got some really good, responses from both of them. And yeah,
Mhm.
I think it turned out great. And it was, I think still to this day the biggest project that I've worked on.
He
That's
was in.
awesome.
Oh, he wrote. Okay.
Have you, I mean, having experience doing especially such a fun documentary like that, um, have you been tempted to go in the documentary route again, since then, or are you really more looking for the like narrative
There's a
telling?
couple if I have the right idea, I would. There's a
Mhm.
couple. I think there's still one I'm trying to do, even though I'm not with the Saints anymore.
Mhm.
I wanted to do something on the entertainers, all the characters around like the chef, nerd, coach, all those like characters that are on
Yeah.
top of the dugouts and around the ballpark doing stuff. Um, and so I have the footage of like interviewed a bunch of them, so I just actually need to find the time to like try to put it together. But like that's
Yeah.
one that I'm working on, and but if the right idea comes around, I'm not opposed to doing that.
Yeah.
I think I started one of the reasons like I started doing like more narrative stuff is like I didn't do a lot of that when I was working in sports, and so like
Yeah.
I wanted to like try doing you know some other type of content. And so I forget when I think my first one was I did like a 48 in like 2016, so like
Hmm.
2 years out of college. But then I didn't do another one until like I did another 48 in like 2019. And then that was kind of it until like I stumbled upon Z Fest in like 2022 or
Yeah.
2021 was like the first one that I did.
Hmm.
But
What a
no,
year to start, my
I've
God.
Right. Yeah, how
um
was that experience? Because you said that you were with the Saints until 2021. Um, like how was the experience and for you and as a filmmaker, coming out of that and trying to do films for like Z Fest, even though we were still, I mean, it wasn't like the sh shutdown wasn't really still happening, but kind of like
yeah.
things were kind of in like that gray, hazy area. Like how
hmm
was that tough to kind of maneuver around?
No, and I think I'm trying to remember. So I think it might have been 2022 was
Okay,
the first Z Fest that I did.
Okay.
So there wasn't a lot of hurdles there, but I mean, I think
that's nice.
doing
Yeah.
all the weird different stuff with the Saints kind of like I was already like was already like writing scripts and directing people. So like I think that because I didn't have like a traditional sports,
Yeah.
experience. So like it wasn't
Hmm.
just just doing like, oh, I'm just doing highlight videos with the athletes. Like
Yeah.
we were doing short scripted stuff a lot there. So like and
With like
having to be
players or
with more the
okay.
entertainment team. So like all
Yeah.
we would do things for the different theme nights and like make longer things every now
Hmm.
and then. So it wasn't like a huge leap. And then obviously like a lot of credit. I worked with the first EFS I did. I worked with um, Joshua Will and Lee Adams, who are both like Lee's the one of the PA announcers at the Saints,
Hmm.
also like a local actor, and Josh, another local actor. He's kind of the on-field entertainment director with the Saints. He's a great they're great writers. So I worked with them. We all kind of collaborated on the story that year, and Josh did a lot of the writing. So like I had a lot of help, kind of
Hmm.
getting that first story together, and then that kind of just helped
So
move
you had a
everything
built-in
along. And
team is what you walked in with, right? Kind
yeah,
of.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's good.
I had
I
people
mean,
that could help me,
yeah,
do that. So yeah.
Nice.
that's
Nice.
awesome. And that was delay.
Yep, delay. Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
that's that one right there. The poster's kind of peeking out.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that you have those posters right there. This is so
Mhm.
cool. Um, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm like that was weird. Uh, so so you made delay, you had this built-in team. Um, and you've made a couple cents. I keep wanting to get to Pass the Rock. We're going to talk about Pass the Rock, but before we do, can you talk about now as you've kind of gone through, your filmmaker journey so far,
hmm
which is always a very fluid way of life. I think all of us know. Who really inspires you right now in the film world?
I don't know, I find inspiration from a lot of places. I don't know if I have like just one person.
Mhm.
I think, I mean, like
Yeah.
I'll watch a random YouTube video and like get inspiration from something that's in there, and like that might spark something, or just like watching whatever it is on Netflix, or insert streaming service here.
Hmm.
I think it just comes from all over, what, might read something. So yeah, I don't know if I have like, just like
Do you have any
one like,
favorites at all that you tend to gravitate towards, maybe? Or
Like if this person makes something, I'm definitely giving it a like
um,
I'm giving it a shot.
yeah,
Maybe it's
yeah.
not perfect. I will watch this.
yeah, I
Not
mean,
sure if that's the case, but yeah.
I think, Christopher Nolan. I like a lot of stuff he
Oh,
works on. Like Dark Knight's
mhm.
one of my favorite movies.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler,
Mm.
love his
Hmm.
work. Just
Yeah.
watched Sinner recently, so like,
So good.
yeah, so like, I don't know, like, yeah, I think, yeah, just like think it comes from a lot of
Hmm.
places for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite genre? One to watch, two, like to maybe focus on with your film.
yeah, I think for focusing on for my film, I think I'm still trying to like find out what works best. And I think I naturally have
Hmm.
gravitated towards doing more comedic stuff just because like
Yeah.
my history with the Saints, like we did a bunch of funny work.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think I've always gravitated towards doing stuff that's even if it's like more serious stuff, like inserting like a little bit of comedy to it, like the
Hmm.
Don't Wait that we did was had a more serious, special message, but like
The
wanted to include
twist.
like a funny punchline
Yeah.
in there, just like
Hmm.
to add some more stuff. So I
Yeah.
think, but I'm open to like making, a bunch of stuff because I think I'm still trying to figure out, what it is that
Yeah.
I really like and can trying to find what my voice is.
Oh,
Sure.
As far as watching, I mean, I will watch almost anything. It just, I mean,
Hmm.
depends on the mood.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm not as into to horror, but I still watch horror stuff every now and then. But like
Hmm.
pretty much anything. I think, I always, love
You
a
had your
comedy
pick
and just
last year
sitting back.
of horror.
Yeah. But yeah, I think probably comedy is probably the one I watch the most, or just like, a good
Mm,
action movie too.
Yeah.
Love those. So.
nice. Yeah,
Absolutely.
being a filmmaker, you definitely are constantly discovering like where you want to try or do things, I think.
Hmm.
Um, I think I've noticed in some of your films that I have seen like Antemortem and I think I saw Don't Wait also, and then of course Pass the Rock. Definitely a lot of like little humorous tones in there, and it's like always kind of like I don't know, it's different. It's kind of like dramedy. I think it is more the lane, I suppose sometimes because um yeah, I appreciated that. So it was just kind of like, oh, that's what? Like with Antemortem, it was just kind of like, oh,
Hmm.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and Ed Mortem was a experimental one for Joshua Will.
Okay.
He kind of had the idea, and he like brought it to me and wanted to do that, and so then we kind of worked together to try like figure it out, and then but yeah, that was a very experimental one for us, and so
Yeah.
but it was fun. It was fun to try it and do something different for both of us.
Sure, for sure. Yeah. It was
Mhm.
definitely different, I'll say.
Yeah.
Um, I guess is there like a do you've already made a feature in a sense with the documentary, but is there a feature like narrative film you would want to make, do you think? Is there something you would lean into more or like you
Yeah, I think
mentioned
I
comedy, but
Yeah, I think I would. I mean, I think I would like to like work my way up to making a narrative feature. I have an inkling of an idea, and I think I might
Hmm.
try starting to like write something this summer. And I think it would be like dramedy, or, something along on the lines there of like, it has like a good message and a good story, but then there's some lighthearted moments and some funny
Yeah.
moments throughout, but at the end of it there's a good message and like in hidden in there. So but I it's a very very early idea. I have like
Mhm.
a sentence or two written down in a notebook, and that's kind of where it's at.
yeah,
Yep.
the
That's where it
idea, the
starts.
seed of the
Mhm.
idea. Yep. Rahana, I'll
Mhm.
Yep.
let you jump into Pass the Rock now because I know you're just chomping at the bit there. So,
Okay. So Pass the Rock was your Pass the Rock was your Z Fest film this year.
Mhm.
Which my partner and I thought was amazing. Like we laughed so
it's true.
hard
It's
and it
true.
was just it was so good. Like it was
Thank
brilliant.
you.
Like the finding the humor in this serious parental situation, like
Mhm.
awkward. What like but the thing is like that it's a hilarious situation. It's just
Yeah.
that it's real.
Yeah.
But and then like the cast was I just oh my gosh. Um It was amazing. We thought it was great. I mean, Alan made a film. We made a film that was also up, and my partner was like, "No, I really hope you guys do well, but this is my favorite one." Because he's a youth basketball coach, and so the whole time, and it
Hmm.
was funny because we were watching, and at one point, I think Ernest like shoots and makes it, and he was just like the form right there, and I was like, "Okay." No one else is paying attention to the form, but it was great. So,
That's awesome.
can you, yeah, we loved it. And so, one, getting to meet you, for everyone listening and watching, I actually fangirled out. I was,
Yes.
we got to Z Fest Award show, and I was like, okay, Alan, like, I don't like networking, but I really want to like get these guys on because this is amazing. And so he led us over there, and I was like, oh my God, you're right there.
Yeah, so
Um,
everyone who's listening or watching this is
it
exactly
was
how it
so,
went, by the
yeah.
way. So
100%. I probably talked way too much, way too fast, and blacked out.
that's great.
Um,
I mean, yeah,
but
exactly, fangirl. That's exactly it. You hit
yeah,
it. Yeah.
it was it. Um, can you tell us where like the idea came from? Because it's hilarious.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I mean, I'm guessing your love for sports, like that's just a really good way to tie in, especially like a father son, like
Hmm.
trying to like bridge and approach this awkward conversation and so
Hmm.
like having basketball to do that, like I'm sure it
Yeah.
was natural, but can you tell us how this whole thing came about?
Yeah, I'll put a disclaimer out there because some people have asked me this already. The scenario and the plot that's in the film is not a real life experience for me, so that did not actually happen to me.
Based on a true story, right? Yeah.
It is completely not related. But there are some like some of the jokes that the father character says like are jokes that my dad would say. So there's some
Yeah.
elements of my dad that are in the character, but like
Hmm.
the scenario is a completely made up scenario. But it happened like I over the like later in the summer last year. I had had done had done Antemortem. Don't Wait was in some festivals last year. And I was trying to think of what's next, and was just sitting down, just like brainstorming ideas, and I was like, oh, maybe I can do something with the father and son, something with basketball.
Hmm.
Um, and just trying to figure out what it was, and I was just writing down ideas, and there was, doing something with, father son basketball and son who feels like he doesn't can't be his true self because he likes punk rock music and that's not what his friends like, and so then there's just a a sentence of an idea there, and just developed it from there, and just had different scenarios playing out, but then just kind of chipped away at what is the story. But I don't know, just sometimes, ideas just hit me sometimes. I just write, jot down a
Yeah.
note, and that was one of them that just, I was just randomly jotting stuff down. I was like, oh, this could be something.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, then I was just trying to figure out what it was. I love the idea of trying to like make it sort of like a period piece type of thing. So making it look
Yeah.
like it takes
Yeah.
place in the, mid 2000s when I grew up.
Yeah.
And I still have my iPod Nano, and trying to, I thought that
Yep.
was a fun thing to do.
The
And I think,
iMac, right?
yeah,
Is that-
yeah, I tried to get that in there too. That's not,
yeah. Dang.
bought that off of Facebook Marketplace a couple years ago.
Yes.
Yes.
Um, but I think the core of the story, I think, is, is something that I connect with a lot, like feeling like you like don't necessarily fit in, or that you're like a little different and scared to like, you know, scared to be like your true self. And like I feel like I've always,
Yeah.
I'm for anyone who knows me, I'm a very soft-spoken person, and like I usually keep to myself. And growing up, that I was kind of afraid to like let people know who I really am, and
Hmm.
was very reserved. And so like I think that's you know the the story that happens in Pass the Rock is something like, that I connect with a lot, of like, feeling like you can't, let people know who you really are and like what you like to do.
Hmm.
And then like the connection with the father figure. So if anyone doesn't know, both my parents passed away.
Mhm.
I think 20, probably like over 10 years ago now. Both my parents
I'm
passed
sorry.
away,
Oh,
Mhm.
and they both passed away. My mom passed away from cancer in 2013, and then my dad passed away. Um, had a asthma attack, led to a heart attack, and that
Mm.
was 9 months later. So I lost both of them
Oh,
in a very, very
so
short.
sorry. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Very short span, and that obviously hit me hard.
Mhm.
That's kind of end up why I
Yeah.
end up doing Don't Wait as like a, that's kind of like
cautionary tale sort of
yeah,
thing.
it's kind of like a, almost like a PSA to like, don't
Yeah.
wait to, tell your parents you love them. So that's kind of how that one started. But then,
Hmm.
I think this one was a good way to like, infuse some of my dad into the
Hmm.
film. Like one of the jokes that um he says in there, when Ernest says in there, like he's like when he's playing basketball at the very end, he was like, "Oh yeah, it's like, oh, you
I
got
got
jokes, you
jokes.
got jokes, Dad. Yeah, I got two of them, you and your sister." Like that's a joke that my dad would say to me, and like
That was our
here.
favorite joke.
Oh, I love that.
There's,
I love that. Like you said that because like that's like we there's three of our siblings. So my dad would always say like, yeah,
yeah.
I got jokes. I got three of them. You your brother and
Yeah.
sister. But like hearing people laugh at that one, like that joke
Yeah.
specifically, just like
Oh,
just like makes me like, I don't know, it makes me really happy because like
Yeah.
he's still making people laugh all these
Hmm.
years later because like that's him, that's not
through
me,
you,
that's like.
yeah.
Oh,
So
So like
yeah, your
that's
filmmaking.
his joke. So
oh,
like, but
I love that.
there's other things like in there that are sprinkled in, but I don't know
Nice.
that always makes me like when like the two times that it's shown through Z Fest, like when people laugh at that
Mhm.
part, it's like I always like, you know, yeah, it
Yeah.
always like makes me smile.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that joke specifically, so that's
Oh,
amazing.
really?
Yeah, we got out of there and my partner commented, like mentioned that a couple times, like we would be driving home and he was just like, God, that was a great joke. Just like, yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was so good.
thank you.
And it makes sense that that is something that your dad would say because it's such a natural and genuine dad joke.
Hmm.
And I love dad jokes. So I was like,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
amazing.
He was full of dad jokes, so it was kind of.
That's amazing. And Ernest did a great job
Yeah,
delivering. I mean, he was that guy. Yeah.
yeah, Ernest did like the entire cast was so great, and like
Yeah.
Ernest
Yeah.
is of the four actors in the film, Ernest was the only one that I had worked with before, so
Right.
it was fun working with Aaron and Devontes and Dario too. Like they were all like perfect for the role, and like they did such a great job, and it was fun being able to like work with new actors. But yeah,
Yeah.
they all crushed it, and like they couldn't have done it without them.
Yeah. How
Love
did you
it.
find your actors? Like, was it through, obviously you worked with Ernest before, but
Yeah, so
um,
yeah, Ernest I worked with before on a
how'd you meet
number of
him?
films. I
Mhm.
met him. I was helping out with one of my other some friends. I was editing for them on a 48
Okay.
a number of years ago, and he was one of the actors that they had, and we connected through that. And then so when I needed an actor and reached out to him, and like he's a great comedic actor too. Like he's just
Mhm.
so naturally funny,
Yeah.
and just like he can just like take what you written down and just like livens it up so much.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so that's how I worked with Ernest. And so then when I was um, casting for this one, I actually did like a casting call for all of them. So like
Oh, okay.
I asked Ernest to like audition, but I just wanted to see like if
Yeah.
there's anyone else out there also like to like just expand like
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
connections and see who else I
Yeah.
can be connected with through the process.
Hmm.
Um, And then, but when Ernest sent in his audition, like I was like, yeah, it's obvious, like it's
Yeah.
Ernest, because he's like there are a lot of great submissions, but like he was, perfect for it. And then yeah, everyone else was the same way. Aaron, sent in an audition tape, and
Role of the
you
mother,
know,
right?
yep, role of the mother,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay.
And again, she was like, as soon as I saw her audition, I was like, yeah, she's she's perfect for this role. And then, and she also had like a nice message too in her email, like that she had like seen my
Oh,
work before and would, would love to work with me eventually in some capacity. And so, but so that was great. And then Devontes,
Hmm.
I had saw that he had posted in one of the Facebook groups. I think it was maybe in the Z Fest group. He was like um, looking for a role to be in Z
hmm.
Fest, and I hadn't written the script yet and hadn't gotten to that point yet. But I was like, mental note.
Yeah.
That like it's like because also there's not anyone who's in the film community and in the groups like there's not a ton of black and brown actors
Yeah.
talent out there, so I which hope that can change. We can get we can get
Hmm. Hmm.
some more representation
Yeah.
out there. But I just like made a note, like if I need someone, like I he could be a potential person. And then
Hmm.
I wrote the script and I was like, I went back and scrolled back through the group and sent him a message like, hey, I think we might have something for you. And that's how we got connected
So cool.
for that. And then in Daria the same way, she responded to the casting call. And yeah, and then but yeah, they were all great, all wonderful people.
Nice.
That's awesome. I love it. Is there a way that people can watch it now? Or is it going through like do you have it in any like other festivals or anything like that? So it's
Yeah,
not
I've
available
I've
yet.
I've not available yet. I've submitted it to I think like 10 festivals now. So this is like
Good.
Okay.
the
Good.
project that I've submitted to like the most festivals. Just that
Yeah,
I'm really proud
Yep.
of this one, and I think it's
of course.
my best work yet. So I'm fingers crossed I could
Hmm.
get into a couple. So um yeah, so I think it probably won't be available probably for a little while now while
Yeah.
the all the
Right.
festival run stuff is going on.
Hmm.
But
It's a whole
Yep.
nother year of processing for like, and
yeah,
I know like this is kind of submission
Yeah.
time now, like
yeah.
if not
Yep.
earlier, like within this early summer period.
Hmm.
But yeah, yeah, good luck to you on that. Hopefully,
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I,
Good
I'm
luck.
I'm in the same process too. It's just kind of like this is getting expensive, you know. Is
Yeah, it's yeah, it's crazy how much it adds
Yeah.
up. But
yeah.
yeah, I'm hopefully we can get into a couple there, and then yeah, hopefully next winter time probably we'll before next Z Fest.
During basketball
We'll,
season, maybe, huh?
yeah,
There you
that
go.
might
Yeah,
might be onto something
there you go. Yeah.
there.
I love it. Um, okay, can you, I don't know if have you made any films outside of Minnesota or has your production pretty primarily been here in Minnesota so far?
Yeah, everything that I've done has been in Minnesota so far. Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
Cool.
very cool. Is
Then
there anything that oh, go ahead, Alan. Sorry.
it's my turn, Rahana.
I
To
know,
ask
I'm just
Jordan some
very
questions.
excited. I'm very excited.
This is exactly what it was like at Z-Fest audience. No. Anyways, the what do you find to be the biggest challenge when making any of your films? I notice you kind of have occasionally the same team, maybe a little different here and there, but is that like are you able to work with the same team to keep, you know,
Yeah, I mean,
um,
there's usually a decent amount of like return people each film, and
mhm.
I think each time like I like trying to like work with new people. Just like I don't want to
Yeah.
like limit myself to just
Mhm.
and a certain set, and just like want to like meet new people and expand just like connections there. But I think that's kind of like a big challenge too, is like just trying to get like people for enough roles. And I think, I'm starting to
Yeah.
like meet enough new people that like I can try to do that. But I think that's just for me, just trying to get like a crew together to fill
Mhm.
all the roles that we'd want to film is probably like one of the bigger challenges. So
Right. And it's, I mean, there's so many things, obviously, as a filmmaker, producer, whatever, director. It's, you have casting, you have crew, you have locations, you have like catering. You have, well, maybe not transportation, but I see this camera rig with a pug, so it's like things like that. Do you have a pug on set?
I have a French bulldog, and he
Oh,
was
okay.
on he was on set
Oh,
for Pass the Rock, so he snuck in there a little bit.
He
So
snuck in there. Okay.
yeah.
The French bulldog. Okay.
okay. Oh my goodness.
So yeah, when it comes to all those things coming together, equipment, you name it, whatever you need, like what is the biggest challenge for you you find within the last few films you've made, maybe?
Yeah, I think um yeah, I think just trying to like wrangle up enough people to do it. Like I think I have like a pretty decent chunk of my own gear that like I could probably like have enough to like put stuff together. But yeah, I think it's just trying to make sure that we
More
have people
hands
for the
on
more
deck.
hands to help out for those roles. So I'm always looking for people to collaborate with.
Well,
Mhm.
you've met two people here.
Yep.
uh, yeah, Rohana, if you want to, I'll let you
Yeah.
jump back.
Am I allowed to? Um, so kind of bouncing off of challenges, can you speak to like what what do you really look forward to the most when you're starting a new project? Like what's the most exciting part of the process for you?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like I like being creative. So I'm always working on something. I think my brain just never really shuts off. Like
Yep.
I always tell people like when I'm not like working, I'm working. Because
Yeah.
like
Yes.
I get done
Oh,
with work, I get done with work, and it's like okay, like I'm thinking of some idea, or like I'll
Yeah.
watch a movie. I was like, oh, there's an idea. Let me write that down, and like
Yep.
okay, Leslie,
whether it's
nope.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're trying to fall asleep and you're just like, oh wait, no. Got an
Yeah,
idea,
so
gotta write it down before I forget.
yeah, but I think that's like it that like energizes me. It's like,
Yeah.
being creative and like whatever it is, like, I'll get sidetracked, like I'll watch some random YouTube tutorial on some random art project. It's like, oh, I'm gonna do that and fixate on that for a little bit because I just
Hmm.
like making stuff.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I really like, coming up with the story is fun and just like I don't know. I just enjoy the process of like making something new and like, bringing an idea to life is fun. Like, I think
Hmm.
that's why like I really enjoy like editing is kind of like the thing that I've done the most and like, being able to take all the different pieces and put them together and like, you take all these separate things and then you put them together and you
Yeah.
have something there. So I think, just like seeing the idea come to life is what is really fun for me.
Cool.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that.
I mean, yeah, once you're on set, that's like one of the best places to be, I think. So it's just like
Hmm.
getting on set. I
Yeah.
mean, that's one of the joys of my life, but then it's like then you have to edit or everything that comes before that, obviously.
Hmm.
But then you never know what you get on the day sometimes. So it's just like the
Hmm.
weather could be bad or like you were outside, that. So could be snowing one day or it's like 60 degrees in summer, it's like
Yeah.
but have I guess what is next for you? What's right now like what or the rest of 2025 look like for you?
Yeah, well, speaking of never stopping working, like I'm doing the 48-hour film project, which is
Oh,
starts this Friday. So
an all
Very exciting.
all night double nighter.
yeah,
Yep.
Don't
no sleep from Friday to Sunday.
Yeah.
So
Lots of
pass the rock
coffee.
to the editor. Just
yeah,
take it.
but yeah,
That's exciting.
yeah, so I'm gonna be doing that, and I'm gonna be writing with some other people, directing and editing that one. So it'll be a
Oof,
I have someone who's helping to edit as well, but it'll
Mhm.
be
good.
but yeah, that's what's immediately next, and then once that's done, probably gonna take a break for a little bit, just
Yep.
I
to
hear that.
relax and
Yeah. Recover.
give myself some give my brain some time to recover from back to back films,
Hmm.
and then we'll see. Like at some point during the summer, I'll probably start trying to come up with an idea for Z Fest next year and
Yeah.
kind of going from there. And we'll see if I want to try to get that done in the fall or do it in the winter. So that was the
Hmm.
one of the things I intentionally did with Pastor Rock is like the previous three Z Fest. Like we did it in the dead of winter. I was like, I want to do a Z Fest where it's, not snowing.
Yeah,
Hmm.
So like
Hmm.
I
not freezing.
Yeah, so that's why we got that one in at the end of October last year, and I was like, yes, we got one where we can shoot outside.
Right, right.
Yes.
But yeah, but
Oh,
at some point this summer, I'll start trying to come up with an idea for next year
mhm.
and see where that leads me.
Yeah, that always,
Amazing.
yeah, there was a time where it was just snow for all Z Fest films, and it was just like,
Hmm.
I mean, maybe to an outside state that would be fine, like where they have just desert and like we have
Yeah.
snow. It's like, oh, okay, a desert film looks good here, but yeah.
Hmm.
Um, so Jordan, where can people find your work? Where can they find you? How can they support you?
Yeah. Let me double check. I always forget what my Instagram handle is.
Honestly,
It's
I do the same thing.
yeah. So my Instagram handle is at JLynn Videos. So that's where I post most of my, like, I'll post, behind the scenes pictures and stuff like that. Post, new work that I'm working on. And then I have a website, JLynProductions.com. And
Mhm.
on there's I have a reel, links to the films I've done. Yeah, that's probably the main two spots you can find me and see some of the stuff I worked on.
Go, 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 go,
Perfect.
go.
And it's Lynn with two N's. So for
Yep.
anyone just listening, there you go.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so got one more question for you, and it's the big one. So, what do you want people to remember most about you?
Oof, that's a what do I want people to remember most about me?
It's a heavy
Just
one.
like in general, or like film related, or
Whatever you want.
However you want. It could be
Yeah.
in general, people you've worked with, people who've just watched your stuff. Like it could be whatever you want it
yeah.
to
I
be.
mean, in general, I hope people, remember that, me as a, nice, caring person, who's, fun to be around. My films, I hope that, people, just leave, entertained and feel good and happy and, I think it's fun. I don't know if that's a good answer or not, but
It is, absolutely. It's a very good answer. And I left watching your movie very entertained. So, I mean, success right there. If that means anything. Um, all right. Well, Jordan, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. It was really
yeah,
fun getting to talk to you.
yeah,
Thank you for
likewise.
letting me fangirl out. I apologize if I'm awkward. I can't help it. And to all of our listeners and viewers, this has been Film and Beyond.
Well done.